This is a short demonstration showing how you can pull data straight from the body of an email that you receive on a regular basis, extract that data, reformat that data, clean it, and then send that data to an API endpoint. So the first thing we do in TaskPipes is we have a process something like this. So the very first step of this process is called read from email. So obviously we need to for us to get a preview of the data, we actually need to be able to send TaskPipes an email, an example email showing it what the format of this email normally looks like. So every time you include a read from email step, TaskPipes will define an email address like this. So I can copy that email address and I can compose an email to that email. And so let's say every couple of days we receive office space availability updates. And maybe within the email it looks something like this. So what I can do is I can copy that and compose that into an email as well. And so if I send that information to that TaskPipes email address, like so, TaskPipes will receive that email. It will look within the body of the text, and it will extract any tables that appear within the body of that email. So if I hit update, we should shortly see that yes, it's populated the preview here with what appeared within the email. So now what I want to do is I want to go through a series of steps to reformat this data into the required format to then send to our API endpoint. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to strip out this very first row, this please find below the latest updated office spaces, because we're not interested in that. So I just use this remove rows and strip out one row. Then in case there happen to be any footers to the email or something like that, I actually want to apply a filter so that in column 2, and make sure that column 2 doesn't equal blank. This basically makes sure that we only pull out any data that's in a table that has at least 2 columns. So although for this data it's not actually necessary, this is more of a just to be safe. Now what I want to do is I actually want to, listed here we have dollar per square foot and square foot, but I actually want to calculate price. So I simply use a formula step. I call that new column price, and I multiply the dollar per square foot value by the square foot value, and that obviously gives me the price. Then what I want to do is I want to work out the available date. Now sometimes it says now, but sometimes a date is actually included. You will notice the date was originally in this format, 21st December 2015, for example. TaskPipes always will reformat dates into this sort of format, this format, which is year, month, day. So all I'm doing again is using a formula step. If the value in D is equal to now, then actually set it to now. So that's just using the same formula you can use in Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. Otherwise, take the value in D. And so we then end up with this column. Now actually what I want to do is I want to strip out that dollar per square foot value because we're not interested in it, and I want to strip out that available date column, because now we have this sort of cleaned and improved available date column. Then maybe my API endpoint is expecting the headers to have specific values, so I'm just changing address to lowercase and the square foot to lowercase as well. And then finally, to actually send the data to an API endpoint, I can define it like so. So I define the URL I want to send it to. So these are obviously just example URLs, but mygreatapi.com/update prices. And within the I can include any headers if there are any. There aren't for this example, but if there are, I could include them here. Then I'm including the actual content of the request. So I'm sending an API key, and I'm calling this data new listing. So this obviously includes each row in this JSON formatted list of entries. So you have a key value pair of available, and then the date is available, square foot, the square footage, etc. And that's one dictionary for each row. So yeah, that's how that process works. To actually trigger this on a regular basis, we can use the trigger functionality. So here I can define a trigger email address. So update office prices, maybe. Then any email that you send to this TaskPipes email address, TaskPipes will receive that email. It will read from the body of the data, and it will pass the data through each of these individual steps to finally send to that API output. So maybe you receive regular office space updates, maybe once every couple of days or once every day. You can simply have them to be automatically forwarded to that TaskPipes email address. TaskPipes will then receive them, clean them, and then send them to a web API. So maybe it connects to your database or connects to your office space system. So that's how that works.